Okay, hi everyone. So this is just a quick demo video for your week 2 assignment. So I'm just going to go over each part. You're going to do 3 things for week 2, and it's just about getting you familiar with your drawing materials that are either pencils or your graphite sticks. Your graphite sticks are going to be like flat rectangles. I have a different brand, so mine just look a little different. You're also going to get a kneaded eraser, which is like a square pack, and it's an eraser. Mine's a little smaller, that you can kind of pull. So if you've never used a kneaded eraser before, you can kind of see that if it gets dirty, you just kind of pull it. It's supposed to be like kind of like Play-Doh almost. So don't worry if it gets all out of form and such, like it usually looks like that. I also have this eraser, which I realize isn't in your kit. It's just a white eraser. If you have like a regular kind of pink eraser from like, kind of using like with pencils, just like you can also use one of those, because sometimes those are good erasers to get like a hard edge. And so you also have your different pencils. So you have an ebony pencil, you have a 6B, you have a 2B, and you have a 4B somewhere. This is my 4B. And then you also have an HB and an H. So I want you to use just kind of experiment with all of these materials for week 2, which is to do a line menu. You're going to make a value chart with the pencil, and you're going to also do a texture chart, which I'm going to quickly demonstrate. So for the value chart, I just drew a rectangle. I actually just traced this box because I just thought it was the perfect size. And I used a ruler to divide them into 1-inch boxes. You don't need to be that specific, but this also doesn't need to be that large. I wouldn't do anything more than 5 boxes. And you're only going to do a value chart with one of your pencils. You're either going to do it with the 6B, oops, which just broke, a 6B. You could do it with the 2B or the 4B. I don't want you to do this with the harder pencils. So anything with an H in it is going to be a hard pencil. It's talking about like the softness and hardness of the graphite, which is what is in the pencil. And then you also have an ebony pencil, which is generally just like a mid-range soft pencil. So for the first part, you're going to do a line menu. And what I want you to do, I just want you to use all these different materials to just kind of experiment with making marks. So holding the pencil different. What happens when you hold it on the side? What happens when you hold it, to the point? Layering marks. Play around with like the hard pencil, so the 2H or the HB. You can already see the difference in the thickness of the mark. And then, so yeah, I was looking for my pencil sharpener. So my pencil broke, but so just kind of experimenting with how dark and how light you can go, because your line menu should not be neat. It can be very messy. I want you to play around also with the graphite sticks that you got. You can get really, really dark. They're pretty soft. So that's for step 1, your line menu. And then your second part will be your value chart, which I want you to do with your 4B, 4B, 2B, or 6B pencil. Those will be the softer ones. So this is 6B, this is 4B, and then this is 2B. So here's my pencil sharpener. You should also have a pencil sharpener. I'm not sure if your kit came with one, but make sure you have a pencil sharpener. So for the value chart, I already started it. And what you want to do, see if we can get a little closer. I did like circular motions, and you press down really hard. See next to it how pressing down really hard, and then you go to the next box and you don't press down as hard. So the idea is that you want to see the change in value, like how you can make things darker and lighter. You can do this by just having like a circular motion. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. Sometimes it gets harder to show it lighter. It's like you want to see a shift from one box to the next, and that can be kind of tricky. So this is just practice. So don't worry if it doesn't look, you know, I don't even know what perfect would look like per se, but I made my lines really light, but if you want to make them a little darker, you can. I made them like here and here. So that's just a value chart. So from dark, medium to light. I could probably even go one lighter. Okay, and if you want, you can also do the same thing with your graphite stick, because that's going to get really dark. Sorry, this table is shaking. And also smudge these with your finger. Use the side of the graphite stick. So please do the line menu first. Play around with pressure. So light pressure, heavy pressure, mark making, different types of lines. And then I want you to experiment with the value charts. Do one with the pencil, either 2B, 4B, or 6B here. And then do one with your graphite stick if you want. Or if you really want to try things, you could try one with the HB, the 2H pencil. You can see this is like the darkest it's getting. You can really see how different the pencils are. See how different that is? Okay, and then the final part. So this is 5 boxes. And then the final part is you're going to do a 6-box texture chart. Now, all of this work should be done in your sketchbook. I'm doing this on 2 different pieces, but you should do this all in your sketchbook. And for the texture chart, again, you're going to choose which pencils you use. But I want it to be a variety of the 2Bs, the Bs, the Hs, and then also your graphite sticks. What I want you to do with your texture chart is I want you to think about the different different ways to make visual texture. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to do that through creating pattern and mark and value. So value is the dark to light of a color. Pattern, we know, is a repetitive mark that goes over and over. So something that repeats itself, an image or a mark. And you can build value and you can build pattern through mark making. So I'm just going over and over. And the closer my lines are, the darker it gets. So you can think about that as a way to show value. The closer together and more layered your lines are, the darker it gets. You can see it's darker here than it is here. So I want you to make a pattern that will create visual texture in each box. So a different one in each box. And so I want you to try it with the different pencils. So this is the 2H. And then we could do one with the soft graphite stick. And then one thing that you can also do is if you have a rag or like a piece of cotton rag or a paper towel, or you can just use your finger. You can soften the graphite by smudging with your finger. So that way it gets rid of that stark light, that stark white. You could even go in with a different line. Okay. So now I'm using my ebony pencil. Okay, and then you can even turn it to the side. So you notice I'm filling the whole box for each one. You can do, this is called stippling. Now you can do whichever ones you want. Please do not copy mine. So what happens when the marks are really close together and then they spread out? Okay, so for each one, you're going to do a different, using the side of my graphite. Now I'm going to go in. Okay, so these are all just like experimental activities for the second week. Your line menu, your value chart, and then this texture chart. If you have like patterns or different textured objects nearby, you can look at them and kind of like create a texture chart that mimics that. Like a pattern on a paper towel, pattern on like avocado has a nice texture, or like the skin of the avocado. A lemon has a really small dotted texture. Okay, so fill each box completely, do your line menu, and then do 2 value charts. You choose one with your soft pencils, and then the other one can either be a graphite stick or it can be the fine point pencil, which would be either H or 2H. Okay, and also, you know, play around with the eraser. See what happens when you try to create texture with your eraser. So like that's a really nice texture now. It goes from like dark and then it starts to diffuse. So just have fun. Take 3 pictures, one of each, and upload it to Blackboard.